On a stormy and dark night, 6 friends were returning home from a party, and they decided to take a shortcut through the dense woods. They were laughing and drinking, not paying much attention to where they were headed. However, they soon found themselves lost and disoriented. As they stumbled through the thick underbrush, they heard a faint sound in the distance. It was a woman's voice, begging for help. The group followed the sound until they came upon a small, run-down cabin in a clearing. The door was slightly ajar, and they could see a flickering light inside. Without a second thought, they rushed inside, calling out to whoever was there. The cabin was dimly lit, and the air was heavy with the scent of rot and decay. They soon realized that they had stumbled upon a horror beyond their imaginations. The woman's voice they had heard was coming from a young girl who was chained to a wall in the corner of the room. Her eyes were wide with terror, and her body was bruised and battered. She begged them to help her, but before they could react, they were ambushed by a masked figure who had been hiding in the shadows. The figure was tall and imposing, and he wielded a sharp axe with deadly precision. He threatened to kill them all if they tried to leave, and they soon realized that they were trapped in the cabin with a psychopath who had been torturing and killing his victims for years. The friends tried to fight back, but they were no match for the killer's strength and cunning. One by one, they fell victim to his twisted games and sadistic torture methods. The killer reveled in their fear and pain, relishing in the power he wielded over them. The cabin was a nightmare, and the sound of the rain pounding on the roof only added to the terror they felt. The friends were desperate to escape, but the killer had blocked off all exits. They were all alone in the cabin with a monster. In the end, only one friend managed to escape the cabin alive. He stumbled out into the rain, shaken and traumatized by the horror he had witnessed. He knew that he would never be the same again, and that the memories of that night would haunt him for the rest of his life. The authorities eventually found the cabin, and the killer was brought to justice. But the scars he left on the surviving friend and the young girl he had tortured would never fully heal. The horror they had experienced would stay with them forever, a reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the edge of the woods. The small cabin was located in the deep woods near the town of Ravenwood. The rain had made the path through the woods treacherous, and the friends were in high spirits after a night of partying in the neighboring town of Nightshade. They had taken a shortcut through the woods to get back to their hometown of Moonstone. As they stumbled through the dense underbrush, they heard the woman's voice coming from the direction of a clearing. When they arrived at the cabin, they realized that it was located far away from civilization, and that it had been abandoned for years. The killer had been using it as his lair, and the young girl he had chained to the wall was not the first victim he had tortured and killed. The killer was a local man who had been living in the woods for years, preying on unsuspecting passers-by. The surviving friend never forgot the horror he had faced in the cabin, and he went on to become an advocate for victims of violent crime. He knew that he could never erase the memories of that night, but he wanted to make sure that no one else had to suffer the same fate.